What's up, my cool guys, girls, and MLGs alike? This is actually my first video being filmed in my new setup. I've moved out of my dorm for a few weeks for summer break. My mom was kind enough to get me this setup with a new desk for my bedroom so I can continue to make videos while I'm home. So thanks, Mom. Anyway, let's get into the video. Welcome to another episode of Abandoned Anomalies, the series where I talk about some of my favorite abandoned or defunct places. Today we're talking about Jobean, Florida, the utopia that never was. As a geography nerd, I'm really excited about this one. So, if you've ever lived in Charlotte County, Florida, you're probably familiar with the Murdoch area of Port Charlotte. Easily the busiest and most concentrated area of Charlotte County, home of the Port Charlotte Town Center Mall, Port Charlotte High School, Charlotte Technical College, and many businesses. And one thing that I'm sure everyone has noticed at least once is that Veterans Boulevard becomes Jobean Boulevard once it crosses US 41 going towards Inglewood. But what you may not have known is that Jobean isn't just a strange street name, it was originally supposed to be a city all its own. In 1923, a businessman named Jobean purchased a 1,000-plus acre lot of land on the northern banks of the Myakka River in southwest Florida. Being originally from New England, Jobean originally intended to name his property South Boston, which would have been pretty cool in my opinion, as a New Englander myself, born in Massachusetts but raised in Florida. But this plan didn't last, and it was later renamed Jobean, an anagram for the name of its founder, Joel Bean. See what he did there? Yeah, anyway. Bean had large plans for this land, which he intended to be an incorporated city in Charlotte County. He called this idealized town the City of Destiny, and planned for an unorthodox utopian approach. Jobean was planned to be divided into 6 wards, each with a central plaza complete with its own civic center, surrounded by a boulevard from which 6 roads radiated out of it in the shape of a hexagon. 6 other streets would extend outwards, connecting the other wards. Lots bordering the central plazas were set aside for public buildings such as schools and recreational areas. Jobean would have been complete with everything a town could possibly need to flourish, such as a casino, a dance hall, a large golf course, and plans were also developed for a large modern railroad depot in the center of town. One thing that actually did end up being built was the Jobean Hotel. This hotel has quite a history, as it was purchased by a circus stuntman after the failure of Jobean. This building has stood standing abandoned for decades, being added to the U.S. National Register of Historical Places in 1999. It stood abandoned for years, but sadly was demolished in 2022. I wish I could have explored it while it was still standing. Unfortunately, I didn't even know about it until right after they got rid of it, and I'm like, oh, that would have been great content if I could have gotten videoed it and explored it. But on another note, there is another place near me that is abandoned that has some really cool lore that I am going to be making a video exploring with a friend of mine, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But anyway, so as well as the Jobean Hotel, Jobean himself also constructed a post office, a general store, and a house for himself in Jobean as a way to attract new buyers to this developing community. At first, Jobean was looking to be a massive success when first being developed in the early 1920s. Buyers from the north were snatching up plots of land, and many were putting down generous down payments without even having visited the area yet. Most of this is because of the success that had been seen in new properties in the Miami area. People expected Jobean to turn the same results. However, the Great Depression soon hit, and that put Jobean's progress to a halt. Landowners had to abandon their promised lots and back out of their purchases. Eventually, the only resident that remained was Jobean himself. The Jobean Hotel continued to operate until 1942, when Jobean died, however. And at this point, it was purchased by Leopold Carl Simon, who was an entertainer in the traveling circus. He and his wife Donna stayed at this property while on break from their travels. There's a whole other level of sadness when it comes to mourning the abandoned plans of what never was and what could have been, especially when it's somewhere so close to home for me. It makes me wonder how Charlotte County would be different right now if Jobean had been able to flourish and meet its potential as its own city. I suppose we'll never know, but above all, it's really important to know about the history of this area, and it's just cool and interesting, especially if you're, from Florida. So that's why I wanted to share this with you guys, so thanks for watching and have a great day.